Hey, hey! I told you I'd be on around 2 o'clock. So this is Share the Joy. I'm with my friend Chris here.
Hi.
So there you go. See?
Let's
All right. So it
see.
says, do you want to tag? Yeah, I'm going to
Sure.
tag her in it. Okay. Let's see. We're learning new stuff here, guys. All right. So she's tagged now. Hey, hey! How you doing, Lisa? So good to see you. You know, we're talking Share the Joy today. We're going to talk a little bit of some dirty talk today, aren't we?
What dirty?
Stuff that stinks.
We talk about this all the time with our clients.
I know,
right?
we do, right? So
I'm sharing this. Keep
who
talking.
can actually in the comment section say they know what we're going to talk about today, right? Because you were like, I'm sure you saw you were like, wait a minute, what's she talking about? So she's trying to share things out so her people. So Chris and I are both health coaches. We graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, different years, but we have been through the program together, and we absolutely love what we do. We do. We have great clients. We like hanging out with each other. So we figure
We love nerding out.
Exactly.
Love it.
We love it. So she's finishing up that. But what I want to talk to you, we're going to talk to you today is about what? Poop.
Our
favorite thing, because it tells us a lot about our health, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I can't even talk to a client without even talking about poop.
Yeah, and asking questions, because it's going to let you know kind of what's going on. And we're going to talk about some of the things that are good and some of the things that are not so good, or signals that you might need to take a look at some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we've got things. Did you know, Chris, that 75% of our poop is water?
And bacteria.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is.
So we're just getting the gunk out of our bodies.
Yes. And so it's some is alive, some is dead. Cells, all of that kind of
Toxins.
stuff. Exactly. But I thought it was pretty interesting because most people don't realize how much of it is actually water.
Which goes to show, like, you really need to be hydrated.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Because it's not just about when you urinate out, but when you're doing that. So, hey, Sarah. So just know that is the case as far as that's concerned. What would you say is a good bowel movement?
Oh, so many things.
Okay, well, let's
talk about frequency.
Frequency. Let's talk frequency first.
I think my personal opinion, and see, I don't even know who your opinion
Yeah,
is.
no, we don't. We're doing this live.
We're getting to know each other live.
Exactly, right?
So I think we should be pooping at least 1 to 3 times a day.
Yes.
If you think about babies.
Yes, they do. They eat and they come out, and that's kind of how we were doing it before and what happens to our bodies, but then we shut down, and stress will shut us down. Now, if you're going more than 3 times a day, though,
that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to tell people. I'm like, don't, going 3 times a day, because they're like, oh, I went twice. Am I something wrong? I'm like, no, that's a good thing. You want to eliminate your waste, but at least once a day.
Right.
At least.
Right. And then, so I say, if you're not going once a day, you're constipated.
Exactly.
Now, some doctors will disagree, and they will say that it's normal to go 2 or 3 times a week. However, I don't want to be normal.
I don't want that.
Do you want? Right.
I don't want something backed up, like that much food.
I would
that
feel
much
so heavy and
I would
backed up.
Okay.
Backed up is a good word.
Yeah. No. So your pipes need to be cleansed and cleaned out. And one thing that I do know that when a lot of times I tell clients when they really don't feel like they can go to the bathroom, I say, well, let's start drinking magnesium tea at night, or taking magnesium, because that usually will help with that feeling of being backed up before you go to anything else.
Yeah.
That's number one for me. Hydration too, but I say that tea at night will help you kind of to
get things going. And then let's work on
yes, exactly,
the other stuff to get it going naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's just one of the things that I tell people. But one of the things, color. What do you know about
brown?
Color? Brown. Yes.
Brown. Mm-hmm. You don't really want black.
You know what black means?
You could. There's blood somewhere going on.
Upper GI tract. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things. If you have black stool, really dark black stool, it could mean that there's some blood going up in the upper GI tract.
So you don't want black.
Don't want black. Green is...
Green. How about red? Do you ever have a red poop?
Well, I haven't heard of red unless someone has had beets.
I was going to say.
Yeah. Usually...
You know when you had beets. And that's okay.
Yes,
If you didn't have beets and it's red, you don't want that.
No, exactly. So a lot of times if you've had beets, then I don't really get concerned, because I've had red poop before, but I knew I had beets.
So let me ask you, do you look at your poop every time?
Oh, every time. Every time.
My husband, he saw me on the toilet, and I turn around and go look, and I was like, He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm analyzing my poop because that is a gateway to what's going on in your whole body. Would you agree?
I do. I
Right?
agree completely.
Like so what are you looking for when you're looking at your poop?
Well, definitely, I mean, especially for somebody who had GI issues to begin with from the C. diff, is that I'm always looking for consistency, like how solid is it in a sense? If it's smooth, is it S-shaped?
Yes.
Those are things that I'm looking for to see.
That's ideal.
Yes, that's ideal. Not always that way. Also looking to see if it's harder, does it have cracks in it? Because these all things matter. And I wrote down some of the stuff that it will tell you, and we can kind of go through that. But is it chip-like? Is it more pudding? Like you could describe the consistency of your your poop.
There's an actual chart that labels it what type it is. The Bristol stool chart that I hand to every client.
Okay, good. Well, I didn't have done that.
We do when I have analysis, I do a food, mood, and poop analysis.
Okay, cool.
And I give them that chart because I want to know what they're eating, sleeping, hydrating, and pooping.
Yes, that's right.
And what their mood is.
Because that's a huge factor, because all of those neurotransmitters to the brain start in the gut. So if your mood is jacked up, a lot of times when my mood is jacked up, I'm like, what am I eating? Sometimes it's what am I eating? Also, like, what am I listening to? What's happening? So I had to, like, that kind of thing. What kind of physical, not physical food am I eating, but even emotional and mental food am I eating can affect. But your gut is definitely a telltale sign that if your mood is off, something's going on in the gut as well.
I agree.
So that's huge. But I will say one thing, I know that if it's separate, like if it's kind of like separate, the poop does not together and solid.
With the cracks
with
in it?
Not in the cracks yet, but just has hard lumps. It usually means that it's acute inflammation of the small intestines. And we see that a lot of times in people who have antibiotics. So that's one thing that you kind of know there.
Yeah.
They talk about sausage shape.
Sausage, yep.
Okay, so big, lumpy, that kind of thing. Maybe you'll have bleeding after that one.
That's more constipated.
And also IBS symptoms.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, everything's IBS.
Exactly. I know. That's like the cure-all or the catch-all phrase. Not the cure-all, the catch-all.
Go to your doctor. They're not sure what to do. You have IBS.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they're just that's not cool. Like, and I tell people all the time, get your stool samples done if you have questions. Like, don't let them label you with IBS. Like, really go.
There's things you can do. Absolutely. You don't have to just be, well, this is what I have.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. No. And I said, but even I did biome. I don't know if you ever did biome. So that's a stool analysis, which is really interesting because it tells you exactly what microorganisms are in your poop.
And then I heard too, also like what probiotic strands you need.
Yes.
What you're lacking. It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, we could go down a rabbit trail with that.
I know, we sure could.
Your poop is a big.
It is.
Gives you lots of information.
It gives lots of information as to your health, how diverse the microbes are in your digestive system, what probiotics are actually present, which ones aren't.
Right.
Your inflammation factors are seen actually in your poop. I mean, it's very interesting. So just want to let you guys know. If you guys have questions, go ahead and, of course, ask away as we're sitting here analyzing poop. But the thing about it is that people don't think about it often.
Or you don't realize it's really important. If you think about why we eat is so we can get nutrients from the food, and the poop is just one aspect of your digestive system.
Exactly.
And so it's so important. You can be eating all this organic kale, but if you're not absorbing it, it's not doing any good.
No, it's not at all.
So if you see kale in your stool or food in your stool, you're not getting the nutrients from it.
No, not pulling it out at all.
Except corn.
Yeah, but you don't want to eat corn anyway, is what I try to tell people. I'm just like, that's one of those ones that you're not going to digest, or people who chew chewing gum and
if
like
you're not
gums
digesting it, then there's most of it's genetically modified.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah. That's another topic.
And it's very inflammatory.
It is. It is. Yeah, very, very inflammatory. So I always
corn's not a vegetable.
Nope, it's not. It's not at all. It's not even a grain really. It's like a cross between like a rice, and it's not even real. Like people don't realize that God didn't put corn on the earth. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
No.
So
God,
what?
Yeah.
We're going down another road. What?
Yeah.
So God didn't make
corn. God did not make corn.
Oh, he didn't make a lot of things.
Yeah, but he did that. That was not one of those things that was like.
What about the corn stalks?
Yeah, that was a cross. They crossed to.
What did they cross?
It was a rice grain and like something like what we would see in the baby corn, but it wasn't. And they put those two together and made this monstrosity of something that was used to really feed livestock and cattle, not humans. It's like to fatten the pigs.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I just know it's mostly genetically modified.
Yeah. Now, especially.
And they feed that to a lot of cows.
Yeah, exactly. But it's meant to fatten up livestock. So what is it doing to us?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to eat stuff that's fattening up laptop.
Yeah.
If I can help it. And I can't say that I can always control what everyone else does, but if I can help it, I'm gonna.
So you don't do popcorn?
I don't do popcorn anymore. Occasionally, but not often, because I have noticed that it really affects my mood.
Yeah.
So
too much starchy.
Yeah. So that's when I talk about the gut thing for me.
Yeah. I have a low carbohydrate tolerance too.
Yeah. So when you realize that, when you think you have a low carb tolerance, then that can be pretty detrimental to my mood. So that's when I know I've had too many carbs or too much sugar, is when I start to feel that like depression kind of.
I get tired, and then I'm like not
lethargic.
fun.
Yeah. So I get real like not I'm not fun, and I feel really sad. And I don't like feeling sad.
Isn't that interesting? How food can make you feel.
And when you know it, when you go carb free or you go sugar free or you do get lower carbs sometimes, not to the place where it's no, but just lower, and you start to realize how much energy you have and how good you feel, you're like,
you don't want to go back.
No.
I think a lot of people don't know how good they feel, so they don't know. But anyway, let's get back to
see, rabbit trails. That's what we do.
But if you're pooping all the time, when I get our clients pooping all the time, every day, they feel so much better. And that's my goal. And even on vacation, well, can we go there?
Yeah, you can go there.
Why do you think people have a hard time when they go on vacation, they stop pooping?
Well, I think it's also because you're not relaxed. When your body is tense, and not because you're not relaxed on a vacation. Hey, I don't know who said hey, but I saw hey Kim. Hey Rosalind. All right, so remember, so basically when you're on vacation, you have a place where sometimes people are afraid of the toilet, like it's not their toilet. They don't have that sense of, no, and I'm serious, like that, like you tell me I need to go poop in a gas station, I'm like, I'm gonna hold it.
That's nasty.
But that's how some people really even feel sometimes in hotels, or if you're not in a space where, because like, if you go on vacation with your girlfriends and you're sharing a room.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you don't want to stink it up. So you're like, you're not as relaxed to feel like I can just let go.
Yeah.
And so people start to hold, and then their body, their chemistry gets off, and
it's amazing that mind connection to your gut.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's too routine. Do you have a routine where you
Yeah. You go at a certain time. I can tell you I'm pretty much clockwork. I can tell you the time.
So tell me you.
I am pretty much an early.
Let's just dive in.
Early morning. Y'all are learning a lot about me and about Chris. I am an early morning woman. So basically, when I wake up first thing in the morning, that's a definite yes. And then if I'm going a second time in the day, which happens, it's going to usually be like after the boys come home from school.
Isn't that awesome? You're like,
yes, I can.
Two poops today.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to go into that third, because trust me, when I tell you I was in the other range where I was going in, and I was actually, those of you who bought my book know that I talked about pooping on myself.
No,
not a good thing.
No,
but so I know the other side of it as well. But when I do have good 2 ones in a day, I'm happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think having a routine is good, just like a bedtime routine to help you sleep. A poop routine, like
exactly.
Because your body is expecting it.
It is,
right? And so I think that's partly for me when I go away. If I'm not in that routine, it's just kind of messed up.
Yeah, I would agree. Because you have a whole different time frame. You're like, oh, we got to get to Disney World, or we got to do this on, and they're like, but no, that's my poop time. That happens to me in Europe. When we go, and it's because it's a different time, like
that can mess you up.
That messes me up all the time, because I'm at 6 hours and I'm like, wait a minute. Your
body's like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's 4. It's like, if you took the 6 hours, if I'm at 7 o'clock, we're like 2 in the afternoon, and now I'm like in a tour with my husband's company, and who wants to go in a European toilet? I don't. Their bathrooms are a lot different than ours sometimes.
Yeah.
So so that's why So I agree with you on that one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I walked into Costco. This was a couple of months ago, and there was a squatty potty in the entrance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have one.
And you have a squatty potty?
I have a squatty potty.
Do you guys know what a squatty potty is?
Does anyone know what a squatty potty is? We should run and go get mine. Bring it out. Say.
So what is a squatty potty? Tell us why you should use one.
Okay, well, our bodies are we were meant, and I wish I could get down in a yoga stance right now and do it on this chair and not feel because these are high bar stools we're sitting on, so trust me. But you're really supposed to be in a squat position, meaning when we even childbirth, and that's a whole other rabbit trail, but we give birth supposedly laying down in stirrups. That's not the way our bodies were meant to give birth. So we were meant to squat down on the ground, basically your tailbone almost touching the ground. So it's like in yoga, in that squat position with your legs off to the side, for those who have done that, and kind of hands coming down into a mudra between your knees. that is the position. So when you wet a squatty potty, it's like it's like lifting up the floor so that your knees kind of come up. So I am here. Your knees are up higher. So if you have flexibility and you don't want to buy a squatty potty, before I bought a squatty potty, I used to sit on the toilet like this.
Yeah.
So you could actually put the feet on the toilet if you had the flexibility.
It just puts you in a better position.
Exactly. And so now you're pooping this way instead of it breaking off because your body's turned the way it's not supposed to.
But it was right there in the entrance, and I was overhearing some couple talk, and they were laughing. But I was like, but people need that because most people, would you say, there's a lot of people constipated.
Oh,
I don't know if you know the percentage.
No, I don't know I didn't look that up today.
Or they don't know they are because they think they go a couple times and that's normal.
Exactly. No, but this majority of the people are out there constipated. So I would definitely say that. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Keisha. So we're just in our own world. I'm sorry if there have been questions out there. You guys do me a favor and send me a question or two or send us a question or two. But that's one of the things that people don't realize is that when we are actually pooping, we need to look at it, number one.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to turn around. Yeah, of course it's gross, but don't be afraid to turn around and look at it because it's going to tell you something about it. I mean, is it, you could have IBS, you could have something going on with your liver. If you look at it, it's green and yellow. That could be an indication that something's going on there. And so we don't understand. Now, I'm not talking about one day that you had a kale shake and you see some green. I'm saying that this is something that's consistent, that you see over and over, things that are going on, that something's going on. They're indicators to say, hey, you know, your body's flagging you down before it goes into, you know, a spot of being really diseased.
Yeah.
Those are those flags.
And it could be some food that's triggering it as well.
Exactly.
Food sensitivities can absolutely do that.
And I talked last week about like H. pylori and blasto. Do you know about all of that?
A little bit.
Yeah. And so in understanding gut health, that can change what's happening, and those parasites and bacteria that are that are bad will end up changing what's going on in your microbiome, which your stool will reflect that.
Right.
And so sometimes it's just taking care of those things that are going on.
What is the root of it, right?
Yeah, the root of what's happening. And so, you know, if you are recognizing that your poop is not, like I said, it's supposed to a healthy, you know, I've had a great BM, like when I'm like, yes, you know, it's like basically smooth. You think almost like a banana-like, snake-like, and an S shape, that kind of thing coming through the small intestines.
And no food.
No, you're not seeing chunks of things in there. It's literally, and it's a nice brownish color.
Yeah, I love those days. I'm like, yes. Yeah. And you know what's interesting too? There'll be a period of time where it might be a little more loose. And I'm like, what is going on? And it may be a time where I'm a little bit more stressed.
That is exactly one of the
than normal.
Yes.
And so sometimes I don't even know I'm stressed. And then I look at my poop and I'm like, oh I'm stressed. Isn't that interesting?
It's the truth.
Sometimes you don't know you're stressed until it goes away. And then you're like, whew. But definitely that plays a role.
Yes, it does. And that also is an indication when it's like more more pudding-like. Like if you were to poop on a piece of paper and it looks more like pudding than it does something that's S-shaped. That is stress, and it can also be high blood pressure. So I just wanted to let you know that check your blood pressure as well if it's pudding-like.
Well, doesn't that go with longer stress?
Of course, it does. But those are those things, those flags and those indicators that are telling us things. Yeah.
So the bottom line is you want to be pooping every day.
Yes.
Right? Smooth, snake-like.
Smooth and snake-like. You might even want to get the squatty potty if you feel like maybe you're pooping and it's harder to come out and things like that. So, or if you, like I said, have the flexibility, grab a knee and, you know, put it up on the toilet or two.
And don't take your cell phone in with you.
No, that's not the best thing to do.
No, I feel like
a lot of people do. They'll do a puzzle. I would say I do sometimes.
And you don't want to be sitting there a long time.
No.
Because you could get hemorrhoids and all kinds of other issues.
That is true.
You just need to go and get
take
out.
care of business. Yes. I have my, no, it's kind of funny. I have like these 2 devotional books that are in the windowsill of my bathroom. And so that's what I will tend to.
That's your time.
Yeah. To just, it's not my only time. I don't want people to be like, she does her devotional while she's pooping. No, but it's one of those times.
Squatty potty.
Exactly, my squatty potty. No, but it's one of those times that, you know, that you can find something productive in a sense to do.
Productive, right?
Yeah.
In every way.
In every way. In every way.
This is hilarious because I don't find many people that enjoy talking to people.
No, but it's a good thing. Like I said, and most people don't realize how much it will tell about. I mean, like I said, coming from someone who had severe GI issues and who even to this day still has, I mean, C. diff didn't just like come and go. Like I still have to be very mindful.
You're probably more susceptible.
I am very susceptible. And if once you have C. diff, it can come back again. So you have to be really careful with stress levels, with what I'm eating, with
keeping your immune system
up. Exactly. And so I try to tell people all the time, it's definitely not something that is that I take lightly. When you've been where I've been with the digestive system,
yes,
whenever I do have those flags, I'm checking it out. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Me too. Sometimes you can't figure it out.
Yeah, sometimes you can't.
And they just move on and it's fine.
Yeah,
but
and sometimes it's stress. A lot of times it is stress.
It is. Yeah. So use that as an indicator.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, just post them.
Yes, and we'll come back to this. Exactly. We appreciate. We don't want to take too much of your time. We've already been here talking crap a lot.
So I hope you get your poop in today.
Yes.
And
all right. Remember to do all things with joy and to share the joy. Share the button out. You never know how this might help someone.
Yes.
The other thing I want to tell you guys about, she was at my event last year, but this year she's not going to be able to come.
I know.
But don't forget about Fiercely Feminine.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it, and it's on March 23rd.
So if you're local to Greenville.
Yep, or not, because I got people flying in from Texas. I got some people coming in from New York and DC and Atlanta. Come visit us. It is a great destination, and you know what? I'm staying at the hotel for a couple of nights.
Are
so
you?
yeah, I'm gonna make an experience of it for myself. So
fun for you.
Yeah. So don't feel like if you're away you can't come. All right, we'd love to have you.
Yes,
for sure. All right.
Awesome.
Peace and blessings.
Happy Friday.
Yes. Share the joy.